Quiet trade on D Street with the Nifty holding near the 25,300 mark and the broader indices also largely flat. Metal stocks are on fire on the back of the robust Alcoa earnings, but real estate and PSU banks remain under pressure.
Precious metals are on fire with gold edging towards $5,000 an ounce while platinum hit a record above 2,600 and silver spiked to fresh all-time highs near $99. The rally is being driven by geopolitical uncertainty, a weaker dollar and tight supply in platinum.
And Interglobe posted a sharp drop in Q3 profit hit by one-time labor code cost, forex losses and operational disruptions, even as revenue stayed in line and the capacity expanded. In IT, Coforge reported a weaker quarter with profit down and margins under pressure due to one-offs.
Street expectation of JSW Steel point to higher year-on-year profits, but with sequential pressure from lower steel prices and higher raw material costs, supply is also expected to report a softer quarter with pressure on margins and profits due to weaker US sales and lower contribution from key products.
More earnings to watch today. Shriram Finance is expected to report strong NII growth, but a sharp drop in profit, even as asset quality improves and margins stabilize. But IndusInd Bank is set for another weak quarter with the steep profit decline, softer margins, pressure in the MFI book and elevated credit costs.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now. I'm Kavita Thapliyal and with me is my colleague Ankita Saxena. And yes, it's Friday and there's 1 hour all specially for you for your stock-specific queries. And that's what we do in Buy Now, Sell Now. Just in case you do not have our WhatsApp number, let's quickly flash that on the screen. It's 865-797-4571, the number where you can send across your questions now live and have it answered by our experts. All you have to do is just write down the name of the stock, the price at which you've bought it, the timeline you want to hold it for. We will give you a technical as well as a fundamental check from our experts live on the show. So quickly do that. And before I go on my experts for the day, let's give you a small market check. And as I said earlier, thank God it's Friday and thank God it's a quiet Friday, at least so far, not turning out to be a bloody Friday. Because we can see the market swinging between greens and red. It's below 25,300 now. 25,260 now is the level. But look at Bank Nifty. Again, it's flat, 59,134. And even the broader markets are pretty flat. If you look at Nifty Mid Cap 100 and Small Cap 100 also, not in great momentum. In fact, moving in tandem with the major indices. But even sectorally, we are definitely looking at real estate sector going almost down more than 1%. But then metals up more than 1%. Auto index initially was doing good, but has lost all the gains now. In fact, in red now. IT very flat. PSU Bank, where we saw a good run up. The index is also flattish right now, slightly in green, but then almost flat. Look at healthcare and FMCG. FMCG is one pack where we are looking at some buying coming up. Overall, consumer durable sector is also doing good, gains of almost 0.5%. Quickly, we'll just address a few buzzers in terms of stock specific action, and then we'll go to Ankita to have the guest introduced on the show. But then let's pull Petronet LNG. It's almost up 3%, and Macquarie has actually upgraded the stock from underperform to outperform and has also hiked target prices to 310. We're also looking at Bandhan Bank. It is up almost 3% due to strong result update. Surudaya Small Finance Bank is almost down more than 4% because of weak Q3 results. So very stock specific action due to Q3 results. GSPL down over 2.3%. Again, a weak set of numbers over there. Tantala Platforms up almost 10% because of strong results updates. So that's a quick stock specific check because of Q3 results. But Ankita, let's begin with our viewer queries and let's have our guest on the show.
Absolutely, Kavita. Let's get going with the show then. Guests and all our callers have been waiting for. So let's get guests introduced. Kunal Bothra, as usual, on the technicals, and Mr. Chokalingam, founder and head of research, Economics Research, is now joining us. Hi, Mr. Chokalingam and Kunal. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us today. Let's get going and start with the first question that's coming in on WhatsApp. This is Nivendra Sharma, who's writing in from Ahmedabad. He says that he has if it's time to start accumulating Bajaj Housing Finance shares, or should he wait for prices to go even lower? What are the possible entry points? Also, he says that the stock is already halved, of course, and post the listing levels, which is true. Kunal, let me come to you for the entry points. Bajaj Finance, Housing Finance has actually, like you mentioned, has halved. It's down almost 27% in the last 6 months. Is it a good entry time for the counter? He's not given me his holding period for, say, for the next 1 year. Is it a good counter, and is it the right entry point now?
See, of course, the chart history is a lot more limited, Ankita, for me to try and project this on the longer term charts. But then, looking at the last 6 months of history broadly for the stock price, it looks like that, at current levels of 90, the indicators have come back into an oversold territory. The RSIs are at sub 20 or 21 for Bajaj Housing Finance. The prices have navigated below the key moving averages. I think if I can maybe map the 200 moving average, it's closer to 110, 115 range for Bajaj Housing Finance, and the stock price is closer to 90, which means that there's a divergence of almost 20 to 25% for the stock from the long-term moving averages. So on the back of this kind of a stat, I would probably expect that it's a very good time to try and chip into the stock price. But in these kind of stocks, it's very difficult to preempt when the bottom would be made. So unless you are a long-term investor, you have a time horizon of at least 6 months, 1 year or so, I think it doesn't make sense to buy the stock. If you have a time horizon of long term, by that I mean at least 1 year plus, then it makes sense to buy the stock at current levels. Even if it's a mean reversion trade, I think the stock should come back towards at least 100 to 105 kind of a range in the near to medium term.
All right, time horizon needs to be at least 1 year or plus. That's the recommendation on Bajaj Housing Finance. But then it's time for a short break, and post that we'll get you all the action from Davos. But then just before that, quickly, and before we slip into the break, at World Economic Forum 2026, the performance of Uttar Pradesh has been stellar. The state has signed several MOUs with international partners for a more comprehensive development. These MOUs will set the benchmark for the growth of the state in coming years. Watch Times Network's executive editor Anuya Yadav speaking exclusively to Amit Singh, Secretary, Chief Minister, Office, Government of UP, as he shares the state's vision for a holistic development.
And here in Davos with me, I have Amit Singh, Secretary to the CM Office, Uttar Pradesh. Thank you so much, Amit sir, for joining us. Uttar Pradesh, we have seen from a state of consumption to a state of production. Major investments you have seen in the logistics sector as well, and a lot of improvement in the logistics sector. If I talk about the coming 10 years, the next decade, where does UP, which are the other sectors that UP sees improvement in?
I'm very happy, as you are aware, that very well laid out infrastructure has been laid down, whether it be the roads, the expressways, the expansion of airports, a very widely well connected railway network, metro connectivity in 5 cities. Today we are a major player in the electronics manufacturing industry. Almost 60% of India's mobile phones are manufactured in state. Consumer electronics were a big home. And in times to come, I do believe that the emerging technologies of today will find their feet in our state. And as you know, a number of data centers have already come up in the state. We are also an important player now in the defense technologies. And in addition to this modern, whether it's 3D printing, drone technology, the state has done so well.
UP has, in the last 3 years, played a very, very important role in the speed of business. What else is changing? What else will change so that the more investors feel more welcome, more friendly?
We do believe that not just in terms of making things easy, but also by removing a number of regulations, bringing a number of third parties, it will be a real single window where the investor does not really has to approach any single person, but all his clearances and setting off industry in UP is very, very seamless and easy.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
All right, welcome back to Buy Now Sell Now. I'm Ankita Saxena, and we're getting all your questions answered. And we have a live caller who's now joining us. Abhijit Dev from Calcutta is joining us. Hi, Abhijit. Good morning, and thank you so much for calling us.
Good morning.
Tell us what's your question.
Morning. You see, I have brought 500 shares of Apollo Microsystem Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Apollo 500 shares of Apollo Microsystem at the rate of 190. So I can hold for 1 year.
Right. So your question is, can you hold it for the next 1 year, right?
Yeah. I also brought a 100 shares of Whirlpool at the rate of 1001. So what shall I do for that? That's also I can hold for 1 year.
Okay, Whirlpool and Apollo Micro. We'll do Apollo Micro first. Mr. Chokalingam, 1 year period is what he wants to hold Apollo Microsystems for. Now, Apollo Microsystem, just 2 days back, we had a news of their capex of 300 crores to set up a facility in Telangana. In fact, the stock has also rallied quite a bit in the last 6 months. Last 1 month, though, it has seen a bit of a correction coming in. But from a 1 year perspective, how do you see Apollo Micro to do?
Absolutely, it's a strong, impressive growth stock, no doubt about it. But considering the current valuation, which is trailing P of over 90, I think it is fairly priced even for 1 year down the line. So I would rather give a sell call at this price. As far as Whirlpool is concerned, one can hold. The stock has been beaten down a lot. Yes, there will be more pressure. Even Reliance is getting into consumer durables, but to be fair to the stock, the price has already crashed a lot, discounting a lot of negatives. So I would give a hold on Whirlpool.
All right, so that's the view by Mr. Chokalingam. Kunal, let me take a tech check on Apollo Microsystem. What are the levels to watch out for? He's actually already sitting on a profit. For the next 1 year, should he be holding on to it?
See, I think I would recommend a hold because it's just that the last 4 or 5 months is where the stock has seen a correction. Earlier to that, the stock was perched at 340, 350 levels and it was doing fairly well for itself. And now it's come back towards its 200-day moving average. Historically, at least in the last 1.5 odd year, we've seen that corrections closer to the 200-day moving average have actually been taken as a good support point for Apollo Microsystems, and the stock has resumed the uptrend whenever it's completed this phase of mean reversion or a correction. So I think in that sense, I would recommend a hold.
All right, Mr. Avijit, is there anything else you want to ask our experts?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you. All the best. Have a nice day. Kunal, I come to you. There's a specific question for you from Karishma. First of all, she's saying thank you for your recommendation. It seems you had given a recommendation on Anantraj. So she bought Anantraj at 170 and sold partially at 900. She wants to know if she should be averaging it now or which other stock, which could be a multi-bagger in the future, you would want to recommend, Sterlite Tech or any other counter?
See, I think first, thank you so much for that. First of all, for Anantraj, I believe now if you're looking to average further, I think 500 could be a good point where you can look to average. But the only concern over here could be a time-wise pause or a consolidation. What happens is when stocks run up 8x, 10x in a span of 4 or 5 years, they go into at least a 2-year or a 3-year patch of consolidation. Sometimes it could be less, sometimes it could be high, depending on the kind of beta nature for the stock price and the market environment surrounding. So that's the only concern for a stock like Anantraj. Otherwise, the longer term charts still look very attractive. So I would suggest that if you're looking to average, you can do it in maybe part tranches. You can start at current levels of 500 thereabout. From the other names, I think there are a few stocks which are emerging quite well in terms of a breakout. Tata Steel, for example, the long-term charts looks extremely attractive to me at current levels of 190-ish thereabout. You can also look at Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. The stock has completed a massive inverted cup and handle kind of a pattern on the daily charts. So maybe that's another stock which you can look out for on the longer-term basis.
All right, thanks so much, Kunal, for that. But up next, we have an exclusive roundup of the week's key developments from Maharashtra in our Maharashtra 360. Let's take a look first.
From big-ticket policy moves and regional development projects to landmark cultural and spiritual events, here's a roundup of the key updates from the week in this edition of Maharashtra 360. Good news for commuters using Mumbai's iconic Atal Setu. The Maharashtra government has decided to extend the existing toll concession on the Mumbai Trans-Harbour Link. The move is aimed at reducing travel costs and encouraging greater use of the sea bridge. In another progressive step, the government has also announced a special benefit for electric vehicle users. The revised toll structure has now been officially notified. The existing 50% toll concession on Atal Setu has been extended. The benefit will now continue till 31st December. In a major green mobility push, electric vehicles will get complete toll exemption. The government has issued formal notification of the revised discounted rates. The decision is expected to make Mumbai-Navi Mumbai travel more economical and commuter-friendly. A major welfare initiative for Mumbai's police force has been cleared. The Maharashtra cabinet chaired by CM Fadnavis has approved a large-scale housing township project exclusively for police personnel. The decision aims to address the long-pending need for affordable and modern accommodation for police officers and staff working in Mumbai city and suburbs. The project is expected to bring a significant improvement in the quality of life of police families, as it will reduce long commutes and the heavy burden of Mumbai's high rents. Under the approved plan, 40,000 to 45,000 modern government residents will be constructed for Mumbai police personnel. The total project cost has been estimated at 20,000 crore rupees. The housing will cater to officers and staff across both Mumbai city and suburban regions. The township will follow a modern planned development model with better amenities and facilities. The entire project will be executed by the State Infrastructure Corporation under the PWD. Pune has taken center stage on the global sporting map. CM Fadnavis officially inaugurated the prestigious International Bajaj Pune Grand Tour 2026 at a grand ceremony in Pune. Addressing athletes and organizers, the CM said that the event is more than a competition. It is a long-term sporting and infrastructural legacy for Maharashtra.
The culture of cycling, which has its history in the city of Pune, is hosting this event is something I think very important.
The Bajaj Pune Grand Tour is being seen as a major boost to Maharashtra's global sporting profile. It strengthens Pune's reputation as an international sports destination, drives tourism and economic activity, and showcases newly developed world-class cycling infrastructure across 437 kilometers. With participation from over 35 countries, the event brings global attention to the city and is expected to inspire a strong sporting culture while encouraging long-term investments in athletics and fitness initiatives across the state. A major relief for farmers in Vidarbha. The Maharashtra government has approved a massive financial outlay for the Bemla River irrigation project in Yavatmal district. The decision is expected to significantly strengthen irrigation infrastructure in the region and improve agricultural productivity. Along with the irrigation plan, the government has also cleared funds to resolve a long-pending rehabilitation issue in Amravati district. The move is being seen as a big push to rural development in eastern Maharashtra. The state cabinet has sanctioned 4,775 crore rupees for the Bemla River project. The irrigation network will benefit 58,768 acres of agricultural land. Farmers across 5 talukas of the Yavatmal district will get assured water supply. The project is expected to improve crop yields and rural incomes. Additionally, 89.32 crore rupees has been allocated to complete the rehabilitation of Dhamak village in Amravati district, resolving a long-standing issue. The historic city of Nanded is gearing up for a landmark spiritual event. Preparations are in place for the 350th Shahidi Samagam of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji to be held on January 24th and 25th. The Sikh Guru is revered as Hindu Di Chaddar for his supreme sacrifice in defense of religious freedom and human dignity. Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar Divisional Commissioner Jitendra Papalkar has directed that the teachings and message of Guru Tegh Bahadur should reach every household ahead of the event. A large-scale awareness campaign is being rolled out through schools, government offices, hoardings and community programs. With nearly 10 lakh devotees expected across India and abroad, authorities have put in place elaborate arrangements for security, transport, accommodation and seamless crowd management. And those were all the updates we could pack for you in this edition of Maharashtra 360. Until next week, take care.
All right, so it's time to get connected with management on Q2 results, and now we are joined by Syngene management, and the set of results that they have posted have been pretty weak, and we are joined by Mr. Peter Bains, MD, CEO, Syngene International. Hi there, welcome to ET Now, and let's talk about the financial sharp degrowth in financials, mainly affected by one large client. Could you please shed some light there?
The principal impact in our financials is related to an ongoing single commercial product in our biologics portfolio, which is facing some in-market headwinds. That is feeding back to us, and that is impacting our numbers. This was our largest commercial product, and the impact of that is being seen in the numbers. But what is also important is to look at the rest of the business. And if I put that single product impact to one side, across the rest of Syngene's diversified business platforms, we are seeing growth. And that growth is coming from our manufacturing units. Both our large and our small manufacturing units are seeing increasing utilization, translating into growth. And across our research services, in our chemistry in particular, but also biology, and in our translational and clinical research platforms, we're also seeing growth. So in some way, it's a story of two halves. There's the isolation of the single product impact in our large commercial biologics, and the rest of Syngene's business, I think, is in health and showing growth.
Right. Mr. Bains, can you also give us a breakdown of the performance of your business segments?
So I think that we are seeing growth, as I said, in our manufacturing businesses once we exclude that single product, and that is in the small molecule platform where increased utilization, and this is across a number of customers, and we're also seeing growth and capacity increase in our large molecule facility in Bangalore, again, across a range of customers. And that's, healthy indicator, I think, going forward. And in our research services, we're seeing good growth, particularly in chemistry, our chemistry services, but also in biology and also in translation and clinical. We don't break it down into customers, and we're not giving specific segmental numbers there, but we are seeing stable now growth, which is the focus of our operations now going forward across all those platforms.
All right, let's also talk about the Bristol-Myers Squibb partnership. How are you expecting a broadened scope of this partnership to play out for you in the midterm?
Yeah, so this is a very exciting development here, and we're thrilled to be able to announce the extension of this quite unique and remarkable collaboration, which now gives us, a horizon out to 2035. Now, this is Syngene's largest collaboration. It's long-standing. It's in its 27th year, and Syngene supports Bristol Myers in this collaboration with around 700 scientists looking to support Bristol across drug discovery and development in multiple therapeutic areas. The extension over 10 years is a strategic horizon, and that gives both partners in this collaboration the opportunity to look across that timeline, to extend and expand the collaboration, and look to further support the development of exciting candidates to strengthen Bristol Myers' drug pipeline. So a very exciting strategic development for Syngene.
Right. Also, the new capacities that are added, can you tell us how these are expected to shape up your business's near-term performance?
Sure. So this is, very much in line with, our investment in new capabilities and new capacities to extend our customer service offerings and to differentiate our customer service offerings. So, for example, in the last quarter, we've invested in a liquid-filled hard gelatin facility, which strengthens our oral solid dose formulation offerings and enables us to look at that as an end-to-end capability in formulations from process R&D right the way through to drug product. So that's an exciting development. We've also, invested behind capabilities in chemistry, where we've put in catalytic screening and flow chemistry. This will enable our scientists in chemistry to accelerate through using multiple reactions in parallel, and that will enable us to speed up and to, further enhance the data that we deliver to our customers. So these are two examples. We've also been continuing to invest behind exciting modalities in peptides and in antibody drug conjugates, which are exciting and fast-growing areas for Syngene to move into.
Are you on track to meet your full-year guidance given earlier in April?
So in light of the impact that we're seeing in this single large molecule commercial stage product, this is heavier than we thought, and on the basis of that, we are going to adjust our guidance, and on revenues that will come down from mid-single digit positive to 2 to 3% negative growth.
Thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us today on ET Now and being in on the numbers and the growth roadmap ahead. We'll let you go on that note. But moving on to the next story, in an escalation in the Adani case, the US Security and Exchange Commission has asked the New York court for permission to directly email summons to Gautam Adani and the group executive Sagar Adani after India twice declined to serve the notices on procedural grounds. The SEC says it does not expect services to succeed through official channels and is seeking court approvals to bypass the Indian government process. This is now the highest profile US legal case involving an Indian conglomerate linked to allegations of fraud and a $265 million bribery scheme tied to contracts for electricity purchases from Adani Green Energy. Now, the Adani Group has strongly denied the charges, calling them baseless, and it says that it will pursue all legal remedies. India's Law Ministry has previously said this is a matter between the private parties and the US authorities.
All right, and with that, it's time for headlines of this hour. Leaders struck an upbeat tone on growth and technology-led investment. Rajan Mittal said FTAs will accelerate India's growth and highlighted telecom as the backbone of digital connectivity. Prashant Riya flagged shifting geopolitics but said demands remain strong. Suman Sinha and Vaishali Sinha said India is firmly in the clean energy camp.
And Rajiv Memani said India's macro data stands out globally with the reindustrialization and ease of doing business strengthening the investment case. BCG partner Rahul Jain said India is emerging as a growth anchor. Bajaj Allianz General Insurance Chief added that deeper insurance penetration is critical to boosting economic resilience.
The Fed's preferred inflation gauge, the PCE price index, rose 2.8% in November for both the headline and core, staying well above the central bank's 2% target. The data met expectations but shows inflation is not cooling fast enough.
All right, those were the top headlines of the hour, but let's get going with the show. Resume with all the questions that you have been writing to us. Now, this one's coming from Shriram Raghuraman, who's from Chennai. He holds 30 shares of Aegis Logistics, purchased at an average price of 212 rupees. Now, he wants the fundamental view on the company. Mr. Chokalingam, Aegis Logistics, he's not given a time duration, but I believe a one-year time horizon at least is what he's looking at, since he wants a fundamental view for Aegis. What's your view?
Yeah. So after the significant correction, I would suggest to hold. Fundamentally, it's quite attractive to hold at current PE of around 30 on a trailing basis.
Let's move on and let's take the other question. And there's one more WhatsApp question coming in, and this is from Mr. Sriram Raghuraman from Chennai. He's Geofinance, I think that's the question. 500 shares of Geofinance at average price of 320, and can he buy more at the current market price? His time horizon is 2 to 3 years. I'll come to you once again, Chokalingam sir. What do you have to say?
I believe Geo Financial Services is a phenomenal growth stock. Fortunately, it is also part of the Nifty, so it can attract a passive fund as well. This is one of my high conviction stocks. We have a buy coverage. Personally, I do not hold the stock. It is trading at just around 1.4 times price to book value. I believe it is cheapest stock considering the fact that it is from a large industrial house. And one more important point is that in the last 2 quarters, it has almost completed setting up a successfully platform for various verticals of financial services industry. So I think this is I may be wrong, but I think this is a great attractive stock for medium to long term.
All right, an attractive stock from long to medium term perspective. But let's move on to the next question. This is Venkatesh writing from Indonesia. He says that he has Mazgaon stocks that he's holding at a buying price of 2,610. Can he add further the current levels for the short term? He wants Kunal to give him advice on Mazgaon stocks that he's bought at 2,600. Kunal, he's already sitting at a loss. What should he do? 6 months is the time horizon.
See, I would not suggest to average out at current levels because it looks like the stock is going through a very slow and a gradual drift on the downside. My sense is that potentially, I think over the next couple of months, in case if there is no major news flow happening around the defense sector, generally around the budget is where we see defense stocks getting a little bit more active. So my sense is that assuming if there is no major change in terms of the news flow for the defense stocks, I would expect the stock to just about hang around to this current levels of 2300, 2350. Potentially for the next 1 to 3 months.
Okay. Kunal, there's one more question coming in for you from Smita, Bangalore. She's a regular viewer of ET Now. Thank you so much, Smita, for watching the channel. She's got IRCTC 100 shares at an average price of 750, and she's in losses now. She wants to know if she can add more at this price. What can you suggest her for short term?
So, not to add at current levels, again, I think many of the railway stocks, just like defense, have gone through a correction over the last 18 months to 20 months approximately. Many of these stocks, like for example, IRCTC topped out in the mid of 2024, August somewhere, when the stock was almost at 1100 plus kind of a mark, towards a point when the stock is consistently making new lows for itself. So it still looks like that the bottom has not been made for many of these stocks on the longer term charts. Maybe I think you'll have to wait for at least another month or so for the stock price to try and show signs of bottoming out. Only then is where I would suggest to average out.
All right, that's the view on IRCTC. But now we have a caller joining us. Sanjay from Mumbai is joining us. Hi, Sanjay. Good morning. Tell us what's your question. Sanjay, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Please tell us your question.
Yeah, I have 19 shares of SBI card at the rate 755 and LG Electronics at the rate 1140, 13 shares. I want view for 2 years.
All right, this is for 2 years. Mr. Chokalingam, he has SBI cards and he has LG Electronics that he's bought at 1,140 rupees. For the next 1 year, what's your view?
One can hold. I don't think they can create a big alpha, but post significant corrections, and also considering the kind of business in which they operate and which has some consistent growth potential, I would suggest a hold for both LG Electronics and SBI card.
All right, hold on both SBI and LG Electronics. But let's move on to the next question then. This one's coming from Ahuja, who's writing in. He's a long-term investor, and he says that he has 3 real estate stocks like DLF, O'Brien, Prestige. From 30% profit, he has from his cost price, he is sitting at a 30% profit. What should he do? Very interesting question. Kunal, let me come to you. Because the real estate stocks, if you notice, have been, on the downside. In fact, just before the budget, a rate-sensitive sector is on the decline. What should he do with DLF, Oberoi and Prestige, where he's already sitting at a profit? Is it good time to book out?
I would believe so. I think it's a good time to try and book out profits for the space, because there are multiple things. One is that the real estate sector is typically a very high beta sector, and we've seen that the sectors can go into a very sharp phases of correction, just like what we've seen the last 2-3 months for realty names. I think names like DLF, for example, have corrected from 800, 840 just about 3 odd months back, 3-6 months back, towards now 600ish kind of a zone. So it's a very sharp correction for the stock in that sense, and it still looks like that many of these stocks are breaking their weekly as well as monthly support. So purely on the back of the charts and the recent downtrend, and if you're sitting with 30% kind of a profits for these stocks, I think it's a good time to take out profits and revisit these names. Say maybe over the next 1 or 6 months, whenever these stocks show a decent correction further from current levels.
All right, so that's the take on Uber Reality. But then it's time for a short break on Buy Now, Sell Now, and post that, let's resume your stock-specific queries with our experts. Hi, welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now, and that's the last leg of the show. And let's get connected with our live viewer connected on the phone line. This is Mr. Praveen. Praveen, hi. Morning, you're calling from?
Hi, good morning. I'm calling from Bangalore.
Okay,
And I have a query on Patel Engineering.
sure.
So I have 500 shares of Patel Engineering. I bought it at 65, and I recently opted for the rights issues as well. So I want to know whether is it worth keeping invested in Patel Engineering.
Okay.
Also, I have HL. I've been accumulating, and my average price is around 4,600. So
Okay.
should I continue to invest in HL?
Okay. What's your time frame in both of these stocks?
I'm a long-term investor, so I'm investing for my retirement, so I can be invested for next 5 to 6 years if needed.
All right, the right choice of the asset class for retirement planning, but I also hope that you are well diversified. I'll come to you, Mr. Chokalingam. Okay, so Patel Engineering first.
Yeah, last 2-3 years, it has been improving its revenues and margins, and stock also corrected a lot. I would suggest hold in case it declines further. One can buy for long term. And I heard HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics, if that is a stock. In fact, we have a buy recommendation. I believe the forthcoming budget also would be a little favorable to different stocks like HAL. And balance sheet gives me a lot of attraction. The gross cash is more than the even annual sales. So it has got a lot of opportunity to keep making other income. Secondly, the service income is a predominant source. So that gives a lot of durability in terms of revenue stream and profit stream. So therefore, I would give a buy call on Hindustan Aeronautics.
Okay, so buy call coming in on HUL by Mr. Chokalingam. Now, HAL, I beg your pardon. But let's move on to the next question that's coming in from Narasimha Reddy from Hyderabad. He says he wants a suggestion for 3 stocks from 3 different sectors, and this is for the long term. Mr. Chokalingam, 3 stocks actually from 3 different sectors. It's a bit tough, but what would be your call? Would you be more bullish on the large caps, or would you look at the SMIDs here?
I am still a little nervous on small and mid cap till March end. I have a firm view that beyond March, it would be good time for small and mid cap to perform. So depending upon investors' risk profile, whether short term or long term. So in the large cap, one can consider Infosys and Reliance and ITC, also L&T. In the small and mid cap, I would strongly recommend Oracle Financial Software, Geo, and Artemis Medicare, in which we have also invested personally. And then ISGEC, it's an engineering company, corrected nearly 50% from 2-year high. It has got a lot of order book on hand. So these are some of the small and mid cap stocks I would recommend with at least 1 year investment horizon.
All right, so that's the long-term recommendation for our viewer. But then let's take this question. Good time to buy Kalyan Jeweler. Kunal, I'll come to you. This is for short term. And Okay, I think we have a live viewer on the phone line connected with us, Mr. Pravesh. Pravesh, hi.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me? You can ask your question.
Yes. Hi. Hi, everyone. So my question was like I'm holding Lemon Tree. I had on two stocks. I basically wanted to check. One is on Lemon Tree. I'm holding 367 share on at the rate of 147.65.
Okay.
I want to know, like in long term, whether it is a good time to add.
Okay.
And on Kalyan Jewelers, basically, again, I want a perspective from the long-term view.
Sure.
Whether it is good time to add. I hold actually around 62 shares at the price of 397.
What's the buy price for Kalyan Jewelers?
397.
397. And both are long-term. All right, Chokalingam, sir.
Both are long.
Sure.
So one can hold for long-term Lemon Tree. Valuation is stretched. That is not my style, but still, if you look at the recent year-on-year growth, it has been phenomenal. And I remain very optimistic on hotel business, so one can hold. Kalyan Jewelry, it's a great jewelry business, no doubt. My only fear is that the domestic demand for jewelry is going to come down a lot in the short term. So I would give hold still for a very long term, because to be fair to the stock, it has corrected or even crashed from quite high price. From that perspective, or the kind of brand image they have, I would give hold for long term, but a little caution that in the short term there is a scope for at least another 5 to 10% correction in Kalyan Jewelers.
All right, so that's a view coming on Kalyan Jewelers. I hope, Pravesh, your question was answered here. But let's move on to the next question that is coming from Rajiv, who's writing in from Kolkata. He says, is it a good time to buy Kotak and add NMDC? He's bought at a buying price of 75 rupees. Kunal, is it a good time, a good entry point for Kotak Mahindra Bank and NMDC?
Well, yeah, I think it's a good starting point if you're looking to buy these stocks, because both of these charts are looking quite attractive. Kotak Bank, of course, after the special situation at this 400-ish kind of a zone, looks to be a stock which has dropped down its beta. The stock is consolidating, so that's a good sign. So I think closer to 400, 420 odd range, it's a good time where you can look to start investing. But I think I would also recommend that try and do it more on a fragmented basis, because if in case the market gets into maybe one more leg of correction potentially in the next 1 to 2 months, these stocks as well as many of these other names, they could probably go into a further correction of at least 5% to say 7-8% further from current levels, depending on the intensity of the market correction. So that's the only catch which I would probably suggest. But otherwise, yes, both of these names, Kotak Bank as well as NMDC, I think they're good buys from a long-term play.
So these are the good buys for long-term trade. But then, Mr. Chokalingam, I'll come to you. This is Sanjay from Mumbai, and he wants your take on LG Electronics, bought at 1140. Time horizon is 1.5 years. I've got 19 shares of SBI Card Services at 755, and for this, the time frame is around 2 years.
Yeah. So as we discussed earlier, one can hold both. But it may not create a big alpha, but certainly, in next 1 to 2 years, 10-15% return from current level is very much possible, because industry in which they operate, they have got a significant growth potential for even short to long term.
All right, moving on then to the next question. This is coming in from Murli from Andhra Pradesh. He says he has IIFL Finance that he's bought at a buying price of 584 rupees. He needs a technical and the fundamental view for the next 6 months. Kunal, let me come to you first for the tech check. He's bought it at 584. He's clearly sitting at a loss. What should he do in the next 6 months?
See, I think what's happened is after yesterday's price action, with the stock corrected almost 40 to 50 points from 600 levels to 550 thereabouts, it looks like that the near-term stock chart has been dented. You might see the stock going into a bit of a drag. 520 should be a near-term support, but I think that's what from a short-term play the stock can hold on to. But if that level gets breached, then you might be in for a bigger correction, which could happen for the stock price. So I would suggest that since you've purchased at slight higher prices from where the stock is trading right now, you can continue to hold on the stock price from a long-term play. And if in case you are looking to average, let this corrective wave play out for IIFL. In case if the stock corrects further, as I just mentioned, below the support levels, then there could be a scope where you can look to average the stock at much lower levels than what it is trading right now.
All right, IFL, that's a long-term bet according to Kunal. One last question, and this is on KPI Green. And this is Mr. Sabrish. I am not sure about the time horizon because that's not mentioned, but I'll come to you, Mr. Chokalingam. Okay, he's holding 500 shares at 435.
One can hold, particularly after the severe correction, and also considering the recent few years growth, and also the capacity expansion. It's a good to hold. In case it declines below 400, one can accumulate the stock.
All right, so that was the last stock of the day. Mr. Chokalingam and Kunal, thank you so much for taking the time out and answering all the questions. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. Kavita and I will take your leave. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't go anywhere. Market action continues. Anish Now.